is 7 o'clock. I will call our public hearing and preliminary determination hearing to order. First order of business, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody can stand and salute the flag. I'll get us started. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So welcome everyone. We are here this evening for a preliminary hearing on proposed construction projects around Blue River campus. If you're interested in speaking at the hearing, we've got a sign-up sheet up here if you want to make your way up there and sign up. We're going to have a presentation by our administration and professional advisors to inform you about the need for the plan, how it will be financed, or need for the projects and how they will be financed. And then at that point, after that presentation, you'll have an opportunity to make a public comment. Would ask that those comments be limited to 3 minutes. I'll keep the time on my phone, and Mr. Kreider can keep an eye on me and make sure I'm honest with that. But the topic will be limited tonight to your comments will be limited to what you hear this evening. You don't need to hear anything else about what's going on with the school, but about the presentation and the proposals that are made tonight. And would note for the record that notice of the preliminary determination hearing was published as legally required. Now I'll turn it over to Mr. Kreider, our general counsel, to explain the purpose of the hearing.
We show that copy that the notice incorporated in the publication. So under Indiana law, we're required to hold 2 public hearings, this is the first, to adopt a resolution to preliminarily determine whether to issue bonds or enter into a lease for a project which has a total cost in excess of a non-controlled project. These hearings and the adoption of resolutions are the beginning of the process, and these resolutions establish the maximum financial terms for the proposed projects.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our superintendent, Trent McCormick, and he's going to fill us in on the process of determining and communicating the project to the community and the need for the projects.
All right. First off, I want to thank Gibraltar, Skillman, Stiefel for guiding us over the last year to this point. It's pretty exciting for us. I want to thank my staff. Mrs. Riley's here. Mrs. Dickerson, Assistant Superintendent, and back. They've been on this little journey with us and all the input and paperwork and such, so thank them. And then thank the board for all of your vision and support as well. Really just quickly, what led to this, when I was a new superintendent last year and I walked through our elementary building, I was mortified. Although a new superintendent, I've been in enough school buildings across the state that I was like, oh my gosh. And so that's what started it. And so really we're to the point now where that's the primary drive is the elementary building, the actual facilities, the walls separating from each other in the gym, to the sinking foundation, learning spaces as well needing to be updated. And then really a vision from the board for potential early child care center. So that's kind of the what started all of this a year ago. And then more recently, we've talked about a 6th grade transition to the junior senior high school to make a true middle school. We also have central office over here, that project, and then a number of other projects across the district that need attention. So really, with that said, can you go to the next slide? Really captured all of that in those notes. That encompasses about everything, Mr. Madison.
Okay, so those are the reasons that we're pursuing these projects. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Gibraltar to talk about how the proposed projects will meet those needs as described by Mr. McCormick.
Sure. Thank you, members of the board, Superintendent McCormick, pleasure to be here. Hopefully I can be heard. So at a project hearing such as this, professional advisors such as Gibraltar Design Architects, which by the way, Jim Thompson from Gibraltar for the record, Caleb Davis also here with me, the individuals from the Stone Corporation, Steve will introduce themselves in a minute. For this part of the project hearing, it's simply a matter of indicating in a broad perspective, a summary overview of what can happen, and then we'll go through project scheduling and project budgets in a broad view, and then have Steve will talk about the financial outlook for the projects, how it can be paid for. So to get that started, first of all, as we started this process over a year ago, compliments to the board and the leadership here. Everything you do has a purpose and it's intentional. I won't read all these to you, but I think it's basically saying that your values align with our values and the Skillable Corporation. When we do something, we want it to last a long time. We want it to be highly functional for the students and its intended educational purposes. We're always looking for efficiencies and how we can improve, whether it be energy costs or other types of efficiencies to drive down your annual operating costs, to put more dollars into the use for the children. So these are the things that we stand for, and it's sort of an overarching goals, if you will, of the endeavor. The drawing that you see here is more of a master plan, so it is the result of the study. And as Superintendent McCormick indicated, one of the major features of this first bond issue particular endeavor is to look at the early learning center area and see how early learning can be provided through this facility. And then the overall view of the master plan with sixth grade is moved over to the junior senior high school. As the budget would permit, we start to then use this master plan as a guide to proceed with other work. And so that budgeting process and alignment, if you will, of what can happen at the elementary and what's affordable happens during the project design and construction documents and bidding process. So the main thrust of the elementary school is the early learning center piece. And then you can see from the bullet point list, the high school from our assessment, some of the priorities that goes to the top is, as Superintendent McCormick said, the central office and finding a practical home for that. And also then some minor modifications when we adjust for the sixth grade. And there's other various building items we're going to look at, including perhaps a new entry and pantry for the athletic area opposite your new main entry here, and then components to the site. So those are the things that will be happening. So at this point, I turn the project hearing over to the Stone Corporation to go over schedule and budget.
Good to see most of you again. Tim Bunsted with the Skillman Corporation. Tonight with me is Victor Landfair. So, schedule, obviously you guys are right on time right now, right? We're conducting our June hearings for the 1028 process. Gibraltar has committed to about a 6-7 month design duration. And so we would receive their construction drawings in January, take those drawings and put them out to public bid. We'll share that bid process with you guys, right? Keep you up to date, tell your board meetings, tell you the results, bidders per category, share all that information with you. Then award contracts in March, and so we'll come back, give you a recommendation letter explaining why we recommend that. If we had any discrepancies during bidding, what that was, and why we chose to still recommend one direction or the other. Start construction in the summer of '24, and then right now we've got summer, fall kind of placed in there. As we develop the drawings, we'll be able to kind of hone that in at kind of the extent of construction timeline as we move forward. One of the things with that, first and foremost, student safety. So as we go into kind of creating that early education center, different parts of the project, make sure we've got phases, appropriate barricades, and things like that. So that's all kind of built into that 12, 16, 18-month process there. As far as costs, we'll hard to see towards the end there. Right now, we're saying hard costs for the project. So that's going to be materials, brick and mortar, building improvements, interior, exterior improvements. We're saying $8 million. And then soft costs, so that's testing, permitting, professional fees for Gibraltar. Geotechnical, if we need to get into that, the baseball field or anything on, outside the building, we set aside $2 million. So, with that being said, kind of giving you the overall budget, but Steve was here tonight to tell you how you would pay.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody. Chad Blacklock with Stifel. So, this is your current debt, outstanding debt picture, which is, I mean, a fantastic debt picture to have. Currently, all your debt is paid off in 2026 on your outstanding current outstanding bond issues. And so you can see you also have a fairly large cliff in 24, and then also everything paid off in 26. So taking a look at this project, this would be what you would see in the gray is your current outstanding debt. What you would see in the bluish color would be the $10 million 2023 issuance, which would come on, those payments would come on in 2024 on the 2024 budget. The blue line at the top would represent your debt service tax rate as far as bringing on the project. So you see the debt service tax rate itself is still declining, and even bringing on this particular issuance. You guys have been managing to a total tax rate, however, and so this picture would show with your operations fund tax rate and your debt service tax rate, bringing on the $10 million issuance, that we would keep your tax rate level out through 2029 at your 2023 tax rate of $1.7996. And then you would have another cliff then in 2030, borrowing these assumptions that you can come back and do something else if you wanted to at that time. So it's a pretty good overall debt picture to have with paying off your debt rather quickly. Questions? So just to kind of go over some of the legal parameters, just to go over these, the par amount of the bond issuance would be the $10 million. Estimated cost of issuance, underwriter's discount, $175,000. That's just kind of a fancy way to say your underwriter or Stifel's fee that comes out of that. Brings you down to your net proceeds of the bond issue to $9,825,000. Final maturity on this bond issue would be in 2043. Maximum interest rate of 6%. Estimated interest expense of $5,262,625. The max annual payment would be 2.5, and that's just the max annual payment of any 1 year within the bond maturity is $2.5 million. The estimated tax rate impact being $1.40. That's basically taking that max annual payment, doing the math with your current assessed value to say you would get a $1.40. But overall, to the debt service rate, the impact is zero because we're keeping the actual debt service tax rate is going to be declining even with this bond issuance. Yeah, so I think that's really everything I should need to go over there.
Yeah, before you go on from that.
Oh,
Trevor,
yep.
So you mentioned a maximum interest rate. So is it not fixed? If it's not fixed, how's it determined?
Yeah, so we base this scenario on 6% to use a conservative interest rate. Today's rates are probably in the 3.5% to 4% rate, but we use a very conservative number. So then once we get ready to issue bonds, depending, rates could go up, it could go down a little bit. So when we go to issue the debt issuance, if they still are around that 3.5% to 4% range, that's just going to lower your payments down some more and not as much interest payback. But we like to pick a conservative repayment interest amount to do this scenario.
But once the bond is let, the rate's fixed?
Fixed rate, yeah, everything would be a fixed rate, yep. Great question. Other questions?
All right, so at this time, I will open the public hearing I have 3 folks signed up to speak. Just as a reminder, just ask you to introduce yourself. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. And get the clock ready here. I will let you know when there's 1 minute left to give you an idea. And we'll go from there. So the first name on the list is Melissa True.
I think it's a great project. I'm glad to see that it's really not going to make an impact on our tax rate. That's always important. If you can do this kind of project and keep the tax rate steady, that's great. So I think it's important to make the improvements and make the facility look better and improve the security of the facility as well.
All right, thank you. The second name, I apologize, I can't read.
Oh, that would be me.
Okay. All right. So what is your name, since I can't read it?
Business manager signs their name. Amy Milner, M-I-L-N-E-R.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Is it gonna, who do you have the bond with now? Is Citizens your trustee? Huntington. So will it,
The one dropping off is
okay, will this be like an addendum to your current Huntington, or will it be separate? Bid
It
out?
it will be a separate bid out, correct?
Okay. Okay. Has the holding corporation been contacted? It'd be a great idea to include them, only because I'm going through this right now at Tri-High. So I want to be able to help you and her as much as possible. You'll want to include them, because they're going to be signing off on it. I'm for this. Am I getting close?
No, you're just a minute in, so.
Because you're $1.79, or $1.79. The only thing that concerns me, in case you do have community people talk, you are the highest in the county of all the schools. The closest one to you is Newcastle, Knightstown, because they just did the construction, $1.41. So there's quite a big jump from $1.79 to $1.41. So you might get a few people questioning. We did when we did our bond, and so we were very in the open on where we were at South Hampton. So with the rate being as high as it is, that will be a very good clarity for the community if they question, well, your rates are $8.79, how much more is this going to go up? That, showing the debt going down, would be fantastic for the people that are naysayers. That's all I can think of right now. I just want to help you. Because I know you're still coming in, and we've been through this about 4 times now.
That's why we have all of these people.
Yes. But living in the community, I know what you might get, especially from farmers, because they're right, because Oregon, like the assessed value's gone up, it's affected the farmers. And we had a lot of farmers concerned when we did our last bond. So in case you have farmers, especially your top 10 taxpayers, I know over half of them are, you might want to reach out to them and just soothe any ruffled feathers. Just put an outreach out there for them. That way you don't have farmers showing up at your board meeting and beating you to the chest.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's all I have.
All right. So our last speaker that signed up is Kathy Walker.
Hi, I'm thankful to be here. I am just finishing my 23rd year at Blue River, and over these 23 years, I have watched our building just completely fall apart. And so I want to thank Mr. McCormick and Mrs. Dickerson and the board for caring about our building and about our students and about the learning environment that we're trying to provide for all of our kids, because let's just face it, it's all about them, and we want to make it safe, and we want to, be up to date. The building just isn't conducive to everything that we need right now, and so I think it's exciting to think about the changes that could be happening and just kind of updating all of that and making it safer. And so I just want to thank all of you for caring about us and caring about the kids and where we're trying to give them their instruction. So thank you.
Thank you. there anyone else that wishes to speak that did not sign up? I think that pretty much covers everybody, but we'll make sure I open the floor if needed. So if not, then we'll call the public hearing closed. This is just the first step in a process. We will have our second hearing a week from today, June 12th at 7 p.m. as part of our regular board meeting. We do not take any formal legal action tonight. This was solely for the purpose of making a presentation and collecting public comment. So with that, we'll call the hearing closed and we will adjourn until June 12th. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Nice to meet you. Take care.
See y'all next month.